What are the legal and ethical implications for an animal care professional when they notice a colleague neglecting an animal under their care? What actions should the professional take according to the animal welfare laws and regulations? And so, animal care professionals have a legal and ethical responsibility to ensure the welfare of animals under their care. The Animal Welfare Act, or relevant local legislation, establishes the duty of care that professionals must adhere to, and neglecting an animal is a violation of this duty. If a professional notices neglect, they are legally obligated to report the issue to the appropriate authorities, such as animal welfare agencies or government inspectors, to prevent further harm to the animal. This duty of care also aligns with the Code of Ethics for Animal Care Professionals, which emphasizes safeguarding the well-being of animals and acting in the animal's best interests at all times. Failure to report neglect could result in legal consequences for the professional, including fines or loss of certification. The reporting should be confidential and done through formal channels, ensuring that the animal's welfare is prioritized. Depending on the jurisdiction, the professional may also be required to document their concerns and report them in writing. In designing an enclosure for a captive chimpanzee, what key considerations should be taken into account to foster natural behaviors and provide mental and physical stimulation, and why are these factors essential for the well-being of the chimpanzee? Answer: designing an enclosure for chimpanzees requires a thorough understanding of their natural habitat and behavioral needs. Several key factors must be considered. Space and complexity. Chimpanzees are highly intelligent and social primates that require sufficient space to move, climb, and explore. The enclosure should include vertical structures like ropes or branches to allow climbing and foraging behaviors. Social interaction. Chimpanzees are social animals that thrive in groups. The design should allow multiple individuals to interact safely. This helps in maintaining mental stimulation and reduces the risk of stress-related behaviors. Environmental enrichment. The enclosure should provide enrichment activities such as puzzles, hiding food, and toys to stimulate the chimpanzee's cognitive abilities. Foraging is a natural behavior that should be encouraged, and hiding food in various areas of the enclosure can promote this. Comfort and safety. The enclosure must provide safe, clean, and comfortable spaces for resting, sleeping, and grooming. Environmental factors. The enclosure should simulate the chimpanzee's natural climate, e.g., temperature, humidity, to ensure comfort and well-being. Sarah, an animal care worker, is employed at a wildlife rehabilitation center. During a routine check, she discovers that a critically endangered species, the eastern curlew, has been accidentally housed with a common species of bird. This could lead to the rare bird's stress or potential harm. Sarah is concerned about potential legal repercussions. What immediate steps should Sarah take to address the situation, ensuring legal compliance? Answer: in this scenario, Sarah has identified a potential welfare risk to a critically endangered species, which could lead to legal repercussions if not handled properly. According to animal welfare regulations and wildlife protection laws, Sarah should take the following steps. Immediate separation. The first action should be to immediately separate the endangered species from the common species to prevent harm or stress. This would be in line with the regulations requiring proper care and protection of endangered species. Report the incident. Sarah should report the incident to her supervisor and any relevant authorities, such as local wildlife conservation agencies, to document the error and ensure that proper procedures are followed. Review and rectify the procedures. Sarah should participate in reviewing the protocols for housing different species, ensuring that future accidents are prevented. This may involve conducting a risk assessment and improving the training of staff regarding the specific needs of endangered species. Document the incident. Documenting the situation in detail will be essential for compliance purposes and to protect Sarah from any potential allegations of negligence. How can the use of artificial burrows in enclosures benefit nocturnal animals such as burrowing owls, and what guidelines should be followed to ensure these artificial structures meet the species' needs? Answer: artificial burrows are a form of environmental enrichment for nocturnal animals such as burrowing owls, which naturally seek shelter in underground burrows in the wild. When providing artificial burrows, it is essential to consider the following guidelines: size and depth. The burrow should replicate the size, depth, and shape of a natural burrow to provide the owl with a space that feels secure. The opening should be large enough to allow the owl to enter comfortably, but small enough to discourage predators. Material. The burrow should be constructed using natural, non-toxic materials that promote the comfort and safety of the owl. It should also provide proper insulation, keeping the temperature stable, especially since burrowing owls are often found in regions with extreme temperatures. Location. The burrow should be placed in a quiet, undisturbed area of the enclosure that allows the owl to retreat and rest without the stress of constant human interaction. It should also provide an area for foraging and exercise in the vicinity. Accessibility and maintenance. Artificial burrows should be easily accessible for cleaning and maintenance while ensuring minimal disturbance to the owls. The burrows must be checked regularly to ensure that they remain structurally sound and safe. How does the Five Freedoms principle guide the care of animals in a zoo, and how does this principle influence regulatory compliance in relation to the legal responsibilities of zoo staff? Answer: the Five Freedoms principle is a widely accepted framework for ensuring the well-being of animals, and it plays a crucial role in the care of animals in settings such as zoos. The Five Freedoms are freedom from hunger and thirst, ensuring animals have access to adequate food and fresh water. Freedom from discomfort, providing appropriate shelter and a comfortable environment. Freedom from pain, injury, and disease, ensuring proper medical care and preventing injury. Freedom to express normal behavior, providing sufficient space, enrichment, and social interaction. Freedom from fear and distress, minimizing stress and discomfort through environmental design and care practices. Zoo staff are legally bound by these principles through animal welfare laws, which ensure that animals are cared for in environments that promote their physical and psychological health. Regulatory compliance is influenced by the Five Freedoms, as staff must ensure that all animals' needs are being met according to these principles. What are the potential consequences of providing insufficient mental stimulation for a highly intelligent animal like a dolphin in a captive environment, and how should enrichment be tailored to this species' needs? Answer: dolphins are highly intelligent animals that require mental stimulation to prevent stress and boredom, which can lead to abnormal behaviors such as stereotypic movements, self-harm, or aggression towards other animals or caretakers. Providing insufficient mental stimulation in captivity can have serious consequences for their physical and psychological well-being. To ensure the dolphin's needs are met, enrichment strategies should be tailored specifically to this species and may include problem-solving tasks. Dolphins enjoy puzzles and tasks that stimulate their cognitive abilities, such as using objects to solve challenges or interacting with trainers in training sessions that encourage learning and cooperation. Environmental complexity. Dolphins in captivity should have access to an enriched environment with various natural features like pools with varying depths, different textures, and submerged areas that mimic their natural habitat. Social interaction. Dolphins are highly social and thrive in groups. Social interactions with other dolphins should be facilitated when possible. Additionally, interaction with caretakers and visitors under appropriate conditions can also serve as a source of stimulation. Foraging and play. Dolphins naturally forage for food in the wild, and providing opportunities for them to hunt or engage in play can help simulate natural behavior and keep them engaged. These enrichment strategies are crucial in promoting normal behavior and preventing the mental health issues that arise from captivity. Failure to implement appropriate enrichment programs can violate animal care standards and lead to regulatory non-compliance. How should an animal care facility respond if they receive a complaint about a staff member mishandling an animal, and what legal considerations should guide their investigation process? Answer: if an animal care facility receives a complaint about a staff member mishandling an animal, the following steps should be taken. Immediate action. The staff member involved should be removed from direct animal care duties until the investigation is completed. This ensures the safety and welfare of the animals in the facility while preventing potential harm. Investigation. A thorough investigation should be conducted in accordance with the facility's policies and legal requirements. This may involve interviewing witnesses, reviewing CCTV footage if available, and gathering evidence. Compliance with laws. The facility should be aware of relevant animal welfare laws, such as the Animal Welfare Act, which requires that animals be treated humanely. If the investigation reveals abuse or neglect, the facility is legally obligated to report the incident to the appropriate authorities, such as local animal welfare agencies or regulatory bodies. Employee rights and disciplinary action. The investigation should also consider the rights of the accused employee, ensuring that their due process rights are respected. Disciplinary actions may include retraining, suspension, or termination, depending on the severity of the misconduct. In providing enrichment for a large cat species like a lion, what are some key strategies to incorporate physical and psychological stimulation, and why are they necessary for the species' health? Answer: for a large cat species such as a lion, physical and psychological stimulation are essential for maintaining health and well-being in captivity. Without enrichment, these animals may develop stereotypic behaviors like pacing, overgrooming, or aggression. Key strategies for enriching the lion's environment include climbing and foraging opportunities. Lions in the wild engage in activities like hunting and territorial patrols, so providing opportunities for climbing structures and foraging is crucial for mimicking natural behaviors. Environmental variation. The enclosure should include naturalistic features such as varied landscapes, rocks, trees, and water features that stimulate the lion's natural curiosity and ability to navigate. Social interaction. Lions are social animals, and group dynamics should be considered in enrichment programs. Lions benefit from interactions with other members of their pride, but it is essential to ensure that these interactions are safe and positive. Mental challenges. Providing the lions with problem-solving tasks, such as using tools to access food or engaging them in activities that require cognitive effort, promotes mental stimulation and prevents boredom. How do international wildlife conservation laws influence the care and management of exotic animals in captivity? And what legal responsibilities do animal care professionals have under these laws? Answer: international wildlife conservation laws, such as the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species (CITES), play a critical role in the care and management of exotic animals. These laws aim to protect endangered species from exploitation and ensure their survival in the wild. For animal care professionals, this means adhering to strict guidelines regarding the importation, care, and breeding of exotic species. Under CITES and similar regulations, professionals must ensure that the exotic species under their care are not part of illegal trade and that their care meets the standards for preserving their health and well-being. Professionals must also be prepared for regular inspections by regulatory authorities to ensure that their facilities comply with these laws. Failure to adhere to international conservation laws can lead to legal consequences, including fines, seizure of animals, and even criminal charges. In addition, animal care professionals are responsible for staying informed about updates to international regulations and adjusting their practices accordingly. What are the ethical considerations involved in using training techniques to enrich the environment of captive animals, and how should trainers ensure these methods do not cause harm or stress to the animals? Answer: the ethical considerations surrounding the use of training techniques in animal care involve ensuring that training methods are humane, positive, and beneficial to the animal's well-being. When using training techniques as part of enrichment, animal care professionals must adhere to the following ethical principles. Positive reinforcement. Training should focus on positive reinforcement rather than punishment. This promotes the animal's well-being by encouraging voluntary participation and helping the animal form positive associations with training sessions. Stress reduction. Training should never cause stress or fear in animals. Trainers should be mindful of the animal's body language and stress signals and adjust training methods accordingly. Voluntary participation. The animal should always have the option to opt out of training sessions, ensuring that the process is not coercive. This is crucial for respecting the animal's autonomy and ensuring that training does not become a source of distress. Behavioral enrichment. The training should be aimed at enriching the animal's life, such as teaching it new behaviors, solving puzzles, or engaging in natural behaviors that promote mental and physical stimulation. What are the primary responsibilities of an animal care worker when maintaining accurate records, and how should they handle situations when there are discrepancies between the recorded and observed animal conditions? Answer: maintaining accurate and comprehensive animal care records is a core responsibility of an animal care worker. This includes documenting daily observations, medical treatments, feeding schedules, and any changes in the animal's condition. If discrepancies are found between the recorded and observed animal conditions, the animal care worker must immediately report the issue to a senior staff member or supervisor. According to the National Code of Practice for the Care and Use of Animals for Scientific Purposes 2013, accurate records are essential to ensure that animals receive proper care and treatment. Discrepancies may also need to be communicated to veterinarians or other qualified professionals to ensure that animals receive timely medical attention. In situations of inconsistency, the worker should also review the process by which records are kept to prevent future errors, as per the Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines. Relevant rulers laws. National Code of Practice for the Care and Use of Animals for Scientific Purposes 2013 Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines. What are the key ethical responsibilities an animal care worker must consider when working with pets that have been surrendered by owners, especially in terms of communicating with the owners and maintaining confidentiality? Answer: an animal care worker must act in an ethical manner when dealing with animals surrendered by owners, ensuring that both the animal's welfare and the privacy of the owner are respected. When communicating with the pet owners, the worker should demonstrate empathy, provide accurate information about the animal's future care options, and ensure the owners understand the implications of surrendering their pet. Confidentiality is a critical aspect of this process. As per the Privacy Act 1988, any personal information about the owner must be kept private unless there is a legal obligation to disclose it, for example, in cases of animal abuse or neglect. This ensures that the worker respects the owner's right to privacy while fulfilling their duty to ensure the animal's safety and well-being. Relevant rule list laws. Privacy Act 1988, Animal Welfare Act 2002. Mr. Thompson is a new animal care worker at a local animal shelter. He has been asked to prepare a report on the health conditions of several animals in the shelter, including a dog showing signs of malnutrition. Mr. Thompson is unsure how to document the condition accurately and whether he should inform his supervisor immediately. What should Mr. Thompson do in this situation? Answer: Mr. Thompson should prioritize the welfare of the animal by immediately informing his supervisor about the dog's malnutrition. The animal's condition must be documented accurately in the records, with specific details on its weight, behavior, and any other visible signs of malnutrition. He should avoid making assumptions or diagnosing the animal's condition, as this requires veterinary expertise. According to the Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines, it is the responsibility of all animal care workers to report health concerns to the appropriate authorities, such as veterinarians or supervisors. Furthermore, Mr. Thompson should ensure that his report includes objective observations and any treatments or interventions recommended by the veterinarian. Relevant rule list laws. Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines, Veterinary Practice Act 2003. Why is understanding the importance of animal care record keeping critical to an animal care worker's professional responsibilities, and how does it affect the animal's well-being and legal requirements? Answer: animal care record keeping is critical because it ensures that the animal's health, treatments, and history are documented in a clear, accessible, and systematic manner. This not only supports the continuity of care, but also helps in diagnosing conditions and planning future treatment. Record keeping is a legal requirement in many jurisdictions as it ensures compliance with animal welfare laws. For example, under the Animal Care and Protection Act 2001, employers are legally required to maintain proper records regarding the care and treatment of animals. Inaccurate or missing records could result in poor treatment and even legal penalties. Furthermore, records help protect the care worker and facility by providing evidence of compliance with industry standards and regulations. Relevant rule list laws. Animal Care and Protection Act 2001, Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines. What role does confidentiality play in maintaining effective communication between animal care workers and clients, and how does this impact both the worker and the animal's well-being? Answer: confidentiality is vital in maintaining trust between animal care workers and their clients. Clients, particularly pet owners, expect that personal information regarding their pets and their circumstances will be kept private. Failure to uphold confidentiality could damage the professional relationship and deter clients from seeking help in the future. Additionally, maintaining confidentiality protects the integrity of the animal care facility and complies with privacy laws such as the Privacy Act 1988. In practice, this means that sensitive information regarding treatments, medical history, or personal details should not be disclosed to unauthorized individuals, and the records should be kept secure. Relevant rule list laws. Privacy Act 1988, Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines. In what ways can professional development in animal care enhance both personal career growth and the standards of care provided to animals, particularly in the context of continuing education and certification? Answer: professional development in animal care can significantly enhance career growth by allowing workers to gain specialized knowledge, stay up to date with the latest practices, and increase their employability. Continuing education programs and certification ensure that animal care workers are well versed in new techniques and regulations, improving the quality of care provided to animals. For example, obtaining certifications from organizations such as the Australian Veterinary Association or completing specialized courses in animal welfare can open doors to higher paying roles and greater responsibilities. Additionally, continuing education ensures that animal care workers comply with evolving industry standards and legal requirements, ultimately benefiting the animals in their care. Relevant rule list laws. Australian Veterinary Association Professional Standards, National Vocational Education and Training Regulator Act 2011. Ms. Lee is working at an animal clinic and has been tasked with providing an animal care report. She discovers that some animals under her care have not received timely vaccinations as indicated in their records. What should Ms. Lee do to address this situation? Answer: Ms. Lee must immediately inform her supervisor about the discrepancy in vaccination records. The animals must receive their required vaccinations as soon as possible to ensure their health and compliance with legal requirements. Ms. Lee should also document the issue, including the animals affected, the missed vaccinations, and the actions taken to address the situation. In accordance with the Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines, animals must receive necessary vaccinations to prevent disease and maintain overall well-being. MS. Lee should also recommend a review of the clinic's record-keeping and vaccination processes to ensure that future discrepancies are avoided. Relevant rules laws. Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines, National Animal Health and Welfare Regulations. What are the ethical implications for an animal care worker when faced with a client who insists on using unapproved treatments for their pet? Answer. An animal care worker has an ethical responsibility to ensure that pets receive the best possible care according to established medical practices. If a client insists on using unapproved treatments, the worker must respectfully explain the risks and potential harm associated with these treatments. The worker should also inform the client of approved evidence-based alternatives. The worker must act in the best interest of the animal following the ethical guidelines set forth by organisations such as the Australian Veterinary Association and the Australian Animal Welfare Standards. If necessary, the worker should escalate the issue to a veterinarian or supervisor for further action. Relevant rules laws. Australian Veterinary Association Professional Code of Conduct Animal Care and Protection Act 2001. How does understanding and applying animal behaviour theories assist animal care workers in managing animals in shelters and clinics, and what are the legal implications of improperly managing an animal's behaviour? Answer. Understanding animal behavior theories helps animal care workers predict and manage how animals will react in different environments. This knowledge is crucial when dealing with stressed or aggressive animals in shelters or clinics. By applying appropriate behavioral management techniques, workers can prevent harm to the animal, staff, and other animals. Improper management of animal behavior, especially if it leads to injury or distress, can have legal consequences under the Animal Care and Protection Act 2001. Workers are legally obligated to ensure that animals are treated humanely and safely. Failure to do so could result in penalties or revocation of professional licenses. Relevant rules laws. Animal Care and Protection Act 2001, Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines. What are the benefits and challenges of joining professional organisations for an animal care worker, and how does this impact their career trajectory? Answer. Joining professional organisations such as the Australian Veterinary Association or the Animal Care and Welfare Association offers numerous benefits, including networking opportunities, access to ongoing professional development, and staying informed about the latest industry trends and regulations. These organisations often provide resources for certifications, legal updates, and guidelines on ethical practices. However, there are challenges as well. Membership may require ongoing fees, and the worker must commit time to attending meetings or professional development activities. Despite these challenges, membership in such organizations can significantly enhance an animal care worker's career trajectory by opening doors to higher-paying positions and leadership opportunities. Relevant rules laws. Australian Veterinary Association Professional Standards, National Vocational Education and Training Regulator Act 2011. What are the key considerations when managing the behavioral needs of companion animals in a multi-pet household, and how can these needs be addressed effectively? Answer. When managing the behavioral needs of companion animals in a multi-pet household, the primary considerations include territorial behavior, hierarchical structures, and socialization. For example, some animals, like cats, can be territorial, which may lead to aggression or stress if boundaries are not respected. Dogs, especially if not properly socialized, may exhibit dominance or submissive behaviors that could lead to conflicts. To address these needs, one should provide separate spaces for each pet initially to reduce stress and allow time to acclimate. Use positive reinforcement to reward desirable behaviors like socializing or following commands. Gradually introduce pets to each other, monitoring their interactions closely to avoid territorial disputes. Consult a veterinarian or animal behaviorist if necessary, especially for severe behavioral issues. Relevant law standards. According to the Animal Welfare Act 2002, animal care must promote the well-being of animals, including their psychological health. Discuss the potential risks of improper handling and restraint techniques in farm animals and the legal obligations of an animal carer in ensuring the welfare of livestock. Answer. Improper handling and restraint of farm animals, such as cattle, sheep, pigs, and poultry, can result in significant risks including physical injury, stress, and trauma to the animal. For instance, improper use of restraint equipment, such as crutches or ropes, can cause fractures, bruising, or internal injuries. In addition, stressful handling can lead to acute behavioral issues or long-term psychological distress. The legal obligations of an animal carer include using humane restraint techniques that minimize stress and prevent harm to the animal, The RSPCA Code of Practice for the Welfare of Livestock outlines methods for safe handling, ensuring the handling and restraint are performed by trained personnel to prevent accidents, adhering to the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1986, which mandates that animals must be treated with care and respect, minimizing distress during handling and restraint procedures. Mr. Thompson is a livestock farmer who is experiencing difficulties with his dairy cows during milking. Some of his cows have become agitated and are difficult to handle, leading to injuries both for the animals and the workers. What steps should Mr. Thompson take to resolve this issue while ensuring the welfare of his cows and workers? Answer: Mr. Thompson should take the following steps. Review milking practices. Ensure that milking is done in a calm, structured environment with minimal noise or disturbances. Cows should be introduced gradually to the milking process to reduce anxiety. Training for workers. Provide training on proper handling and restraint techniques to prevent injury and stress during milking. Workers should be trained in low-stress handling techniques and using equipment such as milking machines correctly to avoid harming the cows. Examine health of cows. Stress and agitation during milking could indicate health issues such as mastitis or other discomforts. A veterinarian should be consulted to assess the health of the animals. Enrichment and environmental management. Consider improving the living conditions of the cows, such as ensuring they have access to adequate space, bedding, and social interaction to reduce stress. Legal and ethical considerations. According to the Animal Welfare Act 2002, farmers must ensure that livestock are not subjected to unnecessary pain, suffering, or distress. Explain the importance of appropriate nutrition management for farm animals and its relationship with disease prevention. Answer: nutrition is critical for the health and well-being of farm animals as it directly impacts their immune system, growth, and reproductive health. Proper nutrition helps to prevent diseases including metabolic disorders, nutritional deficiencies, and digestive problems. Balanced diet. A well-balanced diet ensures that animals receive the correct proportions of protein, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Deficiencies in essential nutrients can lead to diseases like hypocalcemia or ruminal acidosis. Disease prevention. A well-fed animal has a stronger immune system, making it more resistant to infections like mastitis in dairy cows or foot and mouth disease in cattle. Nutritional management can also help in antimicrobial resistance prevention by reducing the need for excessive antibiotic use. Relevant regulations. Under the Australian Animal Welfare Standards and Guidelines for cattle, farmers are required to provide adequate nutrition to cattle to ensure their health and productivity. Failure to provide appropriate nutrition can be considered neglect under animal welfare laws. What are the key principles involved in the socialization and enrichment of companion animals, and how can these practices improve the animal's well-being? Answer: socialization and enrichment are critical components in enhancing a companion animal's mental and physical health. These practices involve providing animals with experiences that stimulate their natural instincts and behaviors. Socialization, exposing pets, particularly puppies and kittens, to a variety of people, environments, and other animals, helps prevent behavior problems such as fear, aggression, and anxiety. It fosters positive social behavior and adaptability in new situations. Enrichment. This includes offering toys, puzzles, and activities that encourage mental stimulation and physical exercise. Enrichment prevents boredom-related behaviors such as excessive barking or destructive chewing. Benefits to well-being: reduces stress and anxiety, especially in rescue animals or those that have experienced trauma. Promotes better behavioral outcomes, including less destructive behavior and better adaptation to the household environment. Describe how the principles of disease prevention and biosecurity measures apply in farm animal care and the role of an animal carer in implementing these measures. Answer: disease prevention and biosecurity are vital to controlling the spread of diseases within and between farms, as well as protecting the health of both the animals and the people working with them. Key biosecurity measures include isolation and quarantine. New animals should be isolated for a period of time before being introduced to the herd or flock to prevent the spread of diseases. Personal protective equipment (PPE). Animal carers should use appropriate PPE, such as gloves, boots, and coveralls to prevent contamination from animals to other animals or people. Sanitation practices. Regular cleaning and disinfecting of equipment, barns, and vehicles used to transport animals help reduce the risk of disease transmission. Role of animal carer. Ensure that biosecurity measures are being implemented effectively. Monitor animal health closely for signs of illness and report any potential outbreaks to a veterinarian. Educate farm workers about disease prevention and proper hygiene practices. What are the ethical concerns related to breeding practices in farm animals, and what regulations must be followed to ensure the welfare of both the animals and their offspring? Ethical concerns in breeding farm animals often revolve around the genetic manipulation, overbreeding, and health risks to both the animals and their offspring. For example, overbreeding can lead to inbreeding, which increases the risk of genetic disorders. Selective breeding for traits like size or milk production can result in health problems for the animals, such as lameness in cows or respiratory issues in pigs. To address these concerns, ethical breeding practices should ensure genetic diversity to avoid inbreeding and related genetic defects, avoid excessive focus on production traits at the expense of the animal's health and well-being, implement breeding practices that prioritize health and sustainability considering the long-term welfare of both the animal and the environment. Legal considerations. The Animal Welfare Act 2002 stipulates that breeding practices must not cause suffering or harm to the animals. Breeders are also obligated to adhere to guidelines set out by the National Animal Welfare Advisory Committee (NAWAC). How does socializing farm animals like sheep and cattle differ from socializing companion animals, and what methods can be used to ensure the effective socialization of livestock? Answer: Socializing farm animals, such as sheep and cattle, differs significantly from socializing companion animals due to their size, natural behaviors, and the environments they are raised in. Farm animals often require more structured socialization as they are usually raised in larger groups and need to be accustomed to handling and contact with humans. Methods for socializing livestock. Gradual introduction to handling, ensuring the animals are not overwhelmed or frightened. Using food rewards to associate positive experiences with human contact. Introducing livestock to a variety of environmental stimuli such as machinery or other animals to reduce stress in diverse situations. Relevance to law. According to the Code of Practice for the Welfare of Cattle, animals should not be subjected to undue stress during socialization or handling. Gradual and positive experiences are required to meet welfare standards and minimize behavioral or psychological harm. Explain the role of routine veterinary care in managing the health and well-being of companion animals and how it relates to the ethical and legal standards of animal care. Answer: Routine veterinary care plays a critical role in the health management of companion animals by monitoring overall health and diagnosing diseases early, preventing more serious conditions, administering vaccinations, parasite control, and dental care to prevent common health issues, providing spay-neutering to control the pet population and reduce certain health risks. Routine veterinary visits are also essential for preventing pain, suffering, and unnecessary medical costs that arise from untreated conditions. Ethical and legal considerations. Under the Animal Welfare Act, pet owners and carers are legally required to ensure that companion animals receive proper medical care to prevent suffering. Failing to provide necessary veterinary care can be considered neglect or cruelty. What are the risks associated with not providing adequate hygiene and grooming for companion animals, and how can these be mitigated? Answer: Failure to provide adequate grooming and hygiene for companion animals, especially for long-haired breeds, can lead to skin infections due to matting or buildup of dirt and oils, parasite infestations such as fleas or ticks, which can cause further health problems, behavioral issues such as increased anxiety or irritation from poor hygiene. To mitigate these risks, regular grooming routines should include bathing the animal using appropriate shampoos and conditioners, brushing the coat to remove tangles and prevent mats, checking for signs of external parasites like fleas and ticks during grooming. Relevant laws. According to the Companion Animals Act, pet owners are required to provide adequate care, including regular hygiene and grooming, to ensure the health and well-being of their animals. Failure to do so can be considered neglect.